out of your education what you put into it. At times, my mental status was not so good. Literally just take the risk and just put yourself out there. It's better to focus on just a few relationships and make those really strong. Prioritizing my happiness is really important. Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Brianna, and in today's video, I'm going to be telling you guys at least 10 things that I wish I knew and what I learned basically based off of my first semester here at Princeton University. I actually am in my dorm right now, if you couldn't tell. This is my bed. It's very lovely. So without further ado, I have my 10 things right here, not in any particular order, and let's get into the video. Just for some background, if you are new to my channel, first of all, welcome. I'm so glad to see you here. I am a freshman in my second semester here at Princeton. Number one is no one is going to force you to do anything. And that is something I learned very quickly, and I'm comparing a lot of this to my high school and like secondary school education, but high school is very regimented, and obviously college is not that way. I'm sure even if you're not in college, you've heard about it like that. Your schedule is a lot more free in terms of independence, and you can really choose to do whatever you want. I know people probably say it in other videos, but you don't have to go to any lectures if you don't want to. You might not do as well in your class, but it's up to you. It's basically you get out of your education what you put into it. You'll have like time gaps in between lectures likely. You can use that time to join clubs, obviously study and do your own work, and like explore the campus at the same time. That's just something to keep in mind. You can do basically whatever you want with your time. You don't have as much time as you think. And that is actually something that I didn't expect. I thought that I was gonna have so much more time during college to just like have free time and hang out around my dorm or with my friends, or just like, I don't know, film YouTube videos, but that is not the case at all, at least here at Princeton. I feel like I have less time than I did at high school, and I don't know if everyone has that same experience. Comment down below if you're a college student and you agree or disagree with me. I'm currently taking 4 classes, and that also includes like labs on top of the lectures and precepts, which are like smaller classes. I basically only have like an hour in between my classes, and then I have bigger chunks of time before all of my classes and after all of my classes. However, that's still not enough time to do a whole lot or have any free time, because during that time I'm mainly just studying because I have a lot of textbook readings to do, problem sets, projects, lab reports, stuff like that I just do whenever I get the chance. So don't go into college expecting like it's just going to be a free schedule, especially if you want to do well and you're a high achiever like me. The third thing is it's so important to find time to do things that you love and that bring you joy and happiness. Throughout the first semester, honestly, that was kind of a tough time for me, and at times my mental status was not so good. I think that's mainly because I would spend literally 24/7 studying or like being in class, which was not healthy at all. I think balance is so important, and I'm sure a lot of people say this, but you really want to make sure that you are finding time to explore a new hobby or join clubs and organizations around campus. I myself want to do more of that. I'm trying to figure out a good club or two to join so I can like interact with those people and just form another friend group, but I'm having trouble figuring out what to join. So if you know any good clubs at Princeton, please hit me up. I will really appreciate it. For me, I obviously enjoy YouTube, so I try to find time to make my own videos and edit them whenever I can. It's very hard though, guys, so I'm sorry if my upload schedule is not as good anymore, but I'm trying to get at least 1 video out a week. I also love just like going out to eat with my friends whenever I can, because it's just a nice study break. It can really lighten your mood and kind of reset yourself and get you mentally prepared to start the next big task. Something that I'm still trying to work on for myself is to not worry about what other people think of you. And I know it's so much easier said than done, but it is truly so important, because I mean, just in any school setting, whether it's high school, middle school, college, I feel like there's always this pressure from other people, even if it's like not really apparent. I always think about what other people or how other people will view me or judge me based on what I'm about to do. It can be as simple as like auditioning for a club or just anything. But I think it's so important to like try to suppress that as much as possible and literally just take the risk and just put yourself out there. You're going to miss 100% of the shots that you don't take. So I think that's something so important, especially for college with a new environment and new people all around you. Just put yourself out there and see what happens, because people are likely going to be just as scared of what you think of them as you are. Next thing that I learned is that it's all about mindset, and that is so true. Oh my goodness. Kind of going off of what I've already said, it's really up to you to make it a great day or not. I mean, obviously there are some things, like if you get a really bad grade or something bad happens, like it's going to be harder, but I think it's always so important to start off the day reminding yourself of why you're here and why you're doing what you're doing. Especially as a student who literally spends every single day studying nonstop. Because if you don't have an optimistic mindset about what you're doing, it's going to be very hard to have the motivation to continue doing it. If you find yourself falling into a bad mindset about things and lacking motivation, really what you need to do is just stay organized. That's another tip that I have. Like, get yourself an agenda book. I have like a physical planner. It's actually right in front of me, and I just have like a weekly schedule and I list all the things I need to do each day and just check them off. And honestly, that gives me such a serotonin boost, and always have something in the future that you're looking forward to, even if it's like just going out to dinner with your friends or family. The next thing that I learned was to always get ahead of your work. It is so important not to fall behind and not to even like be right in line with your work, if you know what I mean. Like, you want to be doing the textbook readings for your classes the week before. Like, for this week, it's Tuesday, and I already did the textbook readings for next week's lectures. At least for me, with my workload, it's so helpful because towards the latter half of the week, I'm going to be assigned problem sets for my classes and like non-reading assignments to do that take a very long time and a lot of thinking and brain power. So what I like to do is just get the readings out of the way so I know I'm ahead and I don't have to save the readings for later to do over the weekend. It's something that I did not implement last semester and I wish I did. Okay, now we're kind of getting into things I learned about studying. So my next tip is to never underestimate an exam. Even if people are saying like this is going to be easy, even if the professor says that it's not going to be that difficult, don't listen to them, because you really never know. I would say for 99% of the exams that I have underestimated and didn't really study too hard for them, kind of like went over the information but didn't really have it like solidified in my head, I always ended up doing worse than I would have imagined or would have hoped on the test. Especially for like those exams that are weighted 30 or 40% of your grade, like final exams or midterms, you definitely want to start studying early and don't just wait until the last second to cram. So what you want to do after every lecture is make sure you review the lecture material and anything that stuck out to you as confusing and just try to comprehend it as best as you can. And then once you have it in your head, also kind of skim through the reading again to make sure that you got everything. I always take notes on my readings, so you could always skim through that as well. But you want to make sure that you understand it at least, so that when you go back to the information, you'll be able to better recall it instead of have to learn it again. Okay, now we're kind of going into like socialization tips. I forget if I've already touched on this, but the next tip that I have is to not worry about making too many friends, which is something that I wish I knew, because at the beginning of my Princeton journey, like the first week or two, everyone was new, all the freshmen were new, and everyone was just trying so hard to meet as many people as possible and like make as many friendships as possible right away, and everyone was scared of feeling left out or being left alone without any friends. And that was such a stressful time for me as someone who isn't completely an extrovert. It was hard for me to like always be on the lookout for someone, you know? Right now, 5 or 6 months later, I would say a handful of good friends that I like keep in contact with every 1 or 2 days. I mean, if you're someone who thrives off of huge friend groups, then that's awesome. I applaud that for you. But if you're someone like me who doesn't need to have that many people to turn to all the time, then don't be ashamed of only having like 1 or 2 friends. Like, that's okay. So yeah, basically what I'm trying to say is don't feel the pressure to make as many friends as possible, because that should not be the stressful part of college. It's better to focus on just a few relationships and make those really strong than have like a lot of acquaintances. My next thing that I've learned is that it's okay to spend time alone in college. That's very different from high school, because I feel like while you're at high school, like in the school, you're always with people either in a class or just even like walking to different classes and to lunch. Like for me, I'm in a single, so obviously I don't really have anyone here with me a lot, and that was kind of weird, to be honest, at first, because I mean during my high school years at home, I would always be able to see my family and stuff like that, and I would never really be alone completely in my home. If you're having trouble with like being alone all the time, I think music is a really great thing. You know, like lo-fi study music on in the background, that makes me so much more focused and motivated. But also in the dining hall, it's okay to eat alone. I see people all the time in the dining hall just on their phone. I do that all the time as well, even for dinner. I go to Roma, which is like the best dining hall in my opinion to just eat alone at. And honestly, I think eating alone is kind of nice, because you get to just sit with yourself, no pressure to talk to anyone. It takes less time too, so you have more time to do other things. This might not apply to everyone, but if you live near your home and you're in college, never feel ashamed to want to go back home or to decide to go back home for the weekend. I grew up very close to my family, and it was kind of hard for me to move to college, even if it's like not that far away. I would find myself trying to not have the urge to go home last semester a lot, and I think that was honestly part of the reason why I was feeling down all the time. I just feel like now that I go home basically every single weekend, I don't think I've missed a weekend, guys. Like, I've gone home every weekend. I just think I'm so much happier, and you might disagree with me. You might be like, oh, it's not good to always go home, you're never gonna grow as a person, but I think for me, prioritizing my happiness is really important, and it's just nice to not always have to be in your room all the time. A lot of my friends say they want to go home too, even though they can't, so never feel ashamed. The last thing that I learned and that I'm still trying to work on is to always remind yourself of your aspirations and goals. This is something that's so important, and that's why I wanted to end this video with this. It's hard. It's really hard sometimes to want to keep going and to contain that motivation to keep going, especially when the work really piles up and you feel like maybe you're putting in so much effort and you're not really getting the result that you want for that specific assignment or whatever it is. So always remind yourself of your end goal. I'm a pre-med student here at Princeton, so obviously I want to go to med school and I want to eventually become a doctor, and just reminding yourself of why you're doing this, and also like all the accomplishments that you've already had, even if they're small. I think that's so important to remind yourself that you are strong enough for this and that you're going to get through it, and that one day your future self will thank you. Those were all of the things that I learned from my college experience so far here at Princeton. I really hope you guys enjoyed hearing everything, and I really hope that some of it at least resonated with you. Let me know in the comments if you have any similar experiences or thoughts, and I would love to hear it. Let me know also if you like these sort of like sit down type videos, because I'll definitely love to film more. I think a lot of the things I filmed at Princeton have just been like day in the life type videos, and I think this is a nice change. So if you enjoyed this video, please make sure to give it a like and subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you all in my next video. Bye!